Back in 1985, I suffered from an illness. It was an illness that had taken advantage of me. My parents didn't know where I was or who I was. My brothers and sisters didn't take notice of me. I was pushed away from my other family relatives by men and women in white suits. Their clothing still stuck in my mind. I remembered it all too well. The pavement that held up our bodies, it kept us clear, away from the dangers on the streets. My illness taught me to distrust people I've known my whole life. They tell me to close my eyes and count to 10. I'd obey. I'd listen to them like they were masters of information. The padlock in my mind was still locked. Nothing unlocked for anyone. I'd refused to let them in, as they dug the metal into my brain. I felt a distant memory returning. A shadow, a figure, a woman. She looked beautiful. She looked at me with her two bulging eyes, staring at me from a distance of mist. Fog and gloomy weather took over my sights. My eyeballs weren't responding correctly. She, however, she had her eyes on me. White, glowing eyes. Her pupils didn't show. I could barely see her skin colour. She just had something stuck in her lower chest. I could see a sharp shadow. As if someone had stabbed her with a weapon of some sort. I scrunched my eyes back, then doing it over and over. I soon got my vision. Her shadow-like figure moved towards me. It called out my name. Yet her voice sounded distorted. Her voice sounded strange, demonic even. Her body flopped to the side of the road between us, and her head rearranged and attached to the neck. I caught a glimpse of the shadow of the weapon pushing through slightly. She finally screamed. Screamed as if she was in my arms. I flinched from the screams above. It held me back from my family. As I woke up, I realised that a week had passed already. Most of the men and women in white suits were talking less and less. The room around me turned stale, looking awful in my vision. I pushed myself out of the bed, pulling wires and cables with me. I looked down at the reflection of myself, a puddle of blood. I could see myself in a reddish form. I looked awful, crimson red taking over my own facial features. Most of the men and women in white suits stared at me. I stood up and they stared through me. It felt like my soul was being taken away from me. I felt my own body being empty inside. The sound of the shadow figure screaming echoed in my mind. The ambulance around me caught my illness. It made me feel the shock factor of my family's past. I woke again and saw the face of familiar. They looked rather nice. The faces stared at me, surrounding me with horrible-looking masks. Dried up red liquid sitting on their masks, waiting to resurface. I was in fear. Deep fear. Afraid of them and myself. The figures surrounded me with toolkits and special items they named. I stared at the ceiling the whole time, begging for my old life back. They finally smiled and their chins dropped down below jaw point. I got the sight of their heads falling to the side of their shoulders. And their faces. Oh my lord, I could see the faces melting in front of me. The surrounding area was blurred. I could not see a thing, just horrible masks around me. Close your eyes and count to 10, a voice whispered. Close your eyes and count to 10, then I want you to breathe again. The voice continued echoing in my mind, causing my brain to ache, with all the words flowing too quickly for me to handle. I rocked back and forth in the comfort I was in. The lack of comfort caused my brain to visualize a more futuristic place. Instead, they whispered to me, telling me that daylight is your final retreat. I tried to understand them, yet they never made sense. They just told me that I was a patient of some sort. At first, I thought it was a hospital. This is no hospital. This place is strange. It feels like a dream. Like world, imagination taking the lead role, forcing me into insanity. Mother, I told you so dearly to my heart and my head. You'll always be there for me, Mother. You have to. A sound broke my sanity. I flinched in fear and the shadows devoured my surroundings. Darkness had shown. I lost my sight. The flickering in the room caused me many headaches. Even now I suffer from regular headaches and pains in my chest. The other patients, in the past, they had left, leaving behind letters. Dark letters with their plurals and dreams. The patients weren't there. The doctor told me on the way out of the place. You're in good hands now. Enjoy your holiday, he smirked. I left without a moment's notice. I just thought of my reunion with my family.